Le'Veon Bell running all over the Bills defense on Sunday by the tune of a Steelers franchise 236 rushing yards. That is a Steelers franchise record. Bell's performance overshadowed a tough game for Ben Roethlisberger, who threw 3 INTs in a game for the first time in over a decade. The Steelers improved to 8-5 with the win and move a half game in front of the Ravens in the AFC North. Max, what was your takeaway from the Steelers' win over the Bills?
Well, listen, it's no surprise. I'm not going to try and get fancy about it. Le'Veon Bell. Look, Ezekiel Elliott gets a lot of credit this year running behind that amazing offensive line, and Ezekiel Elliott is an excellent player and rightfully talked about as even an MVP candidate this year. But it says here that over the last 3 seasons, including this one, when he's on the field, Le'Veon Bell is clearly and by far the best running back in football, and that includes when Adrian Peterson was balling last year and the year before. It includes Ezekiel Elliott this year, even when Gurley was coming on last year. Any other running back you want to point to, when Le'Veon Bell is on the field, he is number one. It is not close. You can line him up anywhere. He can catch passes like a wideout. He's a great runner. I mean, look at some of these runs. Patient, explosive, an amazing player. When I think about the greatest running backs I've ever seen, if his career doesn't have the longevity or he's not available every game as some of the other guys have been, he will be to me like what Gale Sayers was to a previous generation. All I know is when my eyes were on him, that's as good as I've seen.
When I think about the Steelers, you know, I looked at Le'Veon Bell perform yesterday, and you know me, I love Mike T. I'm like, what the hell were y'all doing? You, Todd Haley, why wasn't this man getting the ball for? You know, I mean, what is going on? Why? Because there were games where he barely got, the kind of attempts that you would anticipate he'll get. He's running the football, and remember, D'Angelo Williams is out. What if he comes back? The 2 of them come playoff time. It could be something special, no question about it. I still am suspect on the Steelers' defense, and because of that, I have to give Kansas City the edge as being the #1 threat to the New England Patriots within the AFC. The Steelers could beat anybody, but they could also lose to anybody. Whereas Kansas City, you're going to have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. And their defense are just rife with playmakers. Eric Berry and Peters and the crew, they just know what they're doing. They know how to make things happen. Jamal Charles comes back, they'll be even more formidable. But even without him, you got Spencer Ware, you got Alex Smith, who usually is not going to beat himself. Jeremy Maclin was out for a few games. He's back. Kelsey's been balling. And so when I look at it from that perspective with the Andy Reid coaching this crew, I don't think there's any question that Kansas City is the most formidably consistent threat. Oakland, is your offense going to show up? Or rather, is your defense going to show up? I'm sorry. The Steelers, is your defense going to show up? Okay? But the Kansas City Chiefs, all they have to do is be themselves. You don't have question marks. The real question mark about Kansas City, are they good enough to beat the New England Patriots and Tom Brady? That's it. Yeah. Outside of that, they can beat anybody else because they're just consistently thorough, focused, and professional in that regard.
Yeah, I totally agree. This game doesn't make me think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the #1 team in the AFC. I do agree with Max. Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in football. I don't think it's close. I think when you look at everything that he can do both in the passing game and the running game, he's proven that. Now, the issue is this for me. If I'm the New England Patriots, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, the team you don't want to see get in is the Pittsburgh Steelers. You don't want to see that team with that offense, with that quarterback. Even though Ben Roethlisberger threw 3 interceptions yesterday, you know this team's pedigree. You know the coach's pedigree, you know the quarterback, and you know what this offense can do. And so when you see a team like this having an opportunity,
they get hot.
Yeah, listen,
you never know.
Who wins on Christmas Day is important to everybody in football. When the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers play for the AFC North Championship, which it should be. I'm so glad it's not Cincinnati, and we never thought Cleveland was going to be a part of it. It's what this division should be. The winner of that game is going to be trouble, and I think it'll be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with Ben Roethlisberger and that offense, nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
One point about the Steelers, if they can't stuff the run, they ain't going to win. And that's the #1 takeaway for me was Le'Veon Bell. But number 2 is, if they can't stuff the run, how are they going to beat Kansas City or any of those elite teams. So I don't think, and I didn't think Pittsburgh going into the season was going to get out of the AFC or even be in the AFC Championship game necessarily. And that opinion, that feeling has been reinforced watching them struggle against the run.
Yeah, I understand that. When Kansas City and Pittsburgh met, it was very early in the season. It was before Kansas City really got on this run that we've seen them on. But it was a blowout. Like it was a massacre. It was not pretty, and we've seen that in that matchup of those two teams. Obviously, it'll be in Kansas City if it takes place again, so that could be a huge difference. But this team matches up well against everyone as far as being able to put up points. And you know this, Matt, more than anybody. Styles make fights, and so depending on the matchup, the Steelers can be a tough team to beat.
And Stephen A., you mentioned Mike T., of course, your former coach. With the win, Mike Tomlin won his 100th regular season game and is the third straight Steelers coach to reach 100 wins. As for the Bills, a lot of turnover there. If he wasn't on the hot seat already, he's feeling the heat now. The Bills started the season 4-2, but since then have lost 5 of the last 7 games. Rex Ryan, what's up with the job situation?
Guys, I'll promise you one thing. It's the first I've heard about a rumor about it or whatever. Well, I never did until you guys just said something, so that'll probably tell you how true it is. I don't have any idea, guys. I mean, I'm just got through putting everything into a game that we just got beat, and we'll put in everything we have moving forward. But to answer questions, about anything else, about, rumors or anything else, I think is ridiculous.
Stephen A., does Rex got to go right now?
Yes, Rex Ryan needs to go right now. I take no pleasure in saying that because I happen to like him. But the reality of the situation is that you're in a results-oriented business, and the results speak for themselves. I'm looking forward to Rex Ryan working for ESPN in the near future.
He's great on TV.
Or being a defensive coordinator for some other team. What he has no business doing is being a head coach in the National Football League. The only complimentary word you can say about Rex Ryan is that he's not Jeff Fisher. That's it. He hasn't.
Rough day for Jeff Fisher.
He doesn't have. Listen, don't get me started. We're not going to get.
That was bad, though.
We're not going to get it. Listen.
Sorry to distract you.
No. You're not having to distract me. And I'm very serious. Max, I'm not joking. Ryan, I'm not joking when I'm saying this. The only reason I didn't come in today and talk about Jeff Fisher is because my mama asked me not to.
Man, cut it out, man.
I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm telling you, my mother watched me go off on Jeff Fisher last week. And she says, Steven, stop, be nice. That's the only reason. Now, I promise
you're that players. You want to get to Stephen A.
Listen.
You want to make them stop.
That's right. Max has seen me around my sister, around my family. He knows how much I love my family. My mama asked me to do it. I promised I wouldn't do it today. I said nothing about tomorrow. But today, I'm going to let it pass. Because Jeff Fisher is an absolute...
You said today.
I'll let it go. Let's stay with Rex Ryan. Let's stay with Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan will finish this season 6 consecutive years missing the playoffs. There's the same dude that said he wasn't there to kiss Bill Belichick's ring. There's the same dude that in his introductory press conference when he took the Bills job, is the mic on? It's about to be on. And we going to go to the playoffs and all this stuff. He bloviates a lot. His results are small. It is time for a change. And bottom line is this. They got to make a decision about Tyrod Taylor. And clearly he wants to keep Tyrod in there. The executives, Doug Whaley and others, would like to go in a different direction because they don't want to owe Tyrod Taylor $27 million next year if he gets injured. So the bottom line is you might have to get Rex out of there. It's going to save them in a variety of ways. Rex Ryan, not so much Tyrod Taylor because I don't know about that. But Rex Ryan is clearly proven he has no business being a head coach in the NFL.
In the years that Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor have been together, they have never come back in a game. And I'm not saying come back in the fourth quarter. If they are losing,
at any point,
they
Never.
lose.
At any point.
Never.
They lose.
At any point.
All right, look, guys.
And that's not a good thing. Go ahead, Max.
No, go ahead, Ron. Sorry.
What Rex Ryan has shown us, though, and what we've given him the opportunity to show is he can't coach all of football.
That's right.
And that's why I agree with you, Stephen. A defense coordinator, he can do that. He is big time at it. But he hasn't learned how to develop quarterbacks. He hasn't learned how to develop offenses. And we've seen that after the first 2 years with the Jets, the steady decline in his record and also his offensive production.
He needs a strong offensive coordinator. Look,
right. But you have to be able to locate that, man. You have to be able to project who can be a strong offensive coordinator and let them do their jobs.
Rex Ryan is a solid coach, and the Bills have not been, they've been irrelevant for a generation since Marv Levy. I mean, like, when was the last, they're actually a relevant team now in this sense. They're a tough out. Week in and week out, you don't know if they're going to lose. You see a team has to go to Buffalo, play the Bills, or they just got the Bills on the schedule. You go, yeah, you know, that's a tough game.
So
we'll
how's
see.
he solid?
So that's a solid, by definition, that's solid.
No, it
he has
isn't.
taken.
Here's the issue, Max. Max, if you're Rex Ryan, this is
Hold
my
on,
thing.
let me
You
finish
gotta be
this point.
strong when you're strong.
Let me finish this point. That the bad franchises are the ones who keep turning over head coaches. Now, with the exception of someone like Jeff Fisher, where everyone agrees, bad franchises just get rid of coaches if the going gets rough, or even if they don't achieve their ultimate goal, which in the AFC East, with Bill Belichick there, you're not going to achieve your ultimate goal most years, or maybe any year. But bad franchises, there's turnover. Good franchises, find a solid coach, a good coach, a coach that makes them relevant, that makes them tough to beat week in and week out, and they stay that way for a while, and they build. They have a solid foundation. The Bills have a solid coach. I would not suggest getting rid of him.
A solid coach? What is your definition of solid?
Jeff Fisher, because he keeps getting extensions.
No, Jeff Fisher's bad. I just said
right.
Jeff Fisher should go.
I know that.
This is not a Jeff
Ryan
Fisher
was clearly
situation.
joking. He was clearly joking, Max.
Yeah.
Answer the question. What is a solid coach in your estimation?
Well, a coach who's around 8-8 is solid, actually. It's a
Oh, my
parity
God.
league.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, that's
I
not
can't
solid.
take you. I just can't take you. That's nonsense.
In the NFL.
That's nonsense.
In the NFL,
Solid?
an 8-8 team, a fundamentally 8-8 team, gets a little lucky. They go 10-6 and win a
stop
couple
it.
playoff
Oh,
games. That's how
stop
it
it.
works.
Oh, stop
and an
it.
unlucky
Really?
team goes 6-10,
Really?
and you think
Listen,
they're no good.
It's unfair. It's unfair to take the way the New York Jets finished under Rex Ryan's tenure and apply this to the Buffalo Bills. But we've seen a pattern here. We've seen a pattern of the way that his teams play football, the way that they can't produce offensively. But the more striking and startling fact for me is you're a defensive coach. You're a defensive
And they ranked
mastermind.
28th against the run.
And you're ranked
And he
28th
inherited
and you let
a
a
good
guy,
defense.
you let one person outgain your whole offense, and he's not the quarterback of the
And
other
they've
team.
given up 187 yards rushing over the last 3 games. Max just gets on my nerves sometimes because he has me throwing out my dictionary. I go to the bookstore, I buy a dictionary, I buy the thesaurus, and then he changes the definitions of things.
Yeah.
How the hell is 8-8 solid?
Matt,
How?
Matt, you have to keep up with
It's unbelievable, man.
You have a coach that goes
It's
10-6 every year.
Sorry, guys, we gotta go. We gotta go
You
to
have one
break
of the
here.
greatest
This
of all
is fun.
time.
Let's do it
Stop
again.
it.
Let's talk about solid.
Solid.
The
Mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about the Cowboys? How about the Cowboys? Some way, somehow, when they count just wait, they will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It won't happen. Tony Romo know the football, know what's coming next. He will get in the way. The deception of success. Tony Romo know the football. Are you kidding me? That's why not a catch. Really? That's funny. Big D, easy you. This is what they do. The weed show from on cue. Accident, something will go wrong. The accident of the big Jumbotron. Accident, gotta recognize it's a black cat running around that franchise. Say it with accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait.